Step 6. Fight entropy and stay organized. An organized student is an efficient student, right? Well, most likely anyways. Keeping your systems well organized and free of clutter won't guarantee that you'll study diligently and get your work done, but it'll certainly make it easier to do so. This step will give you systems for processing computer files, organizing anything you write, quickly capturing data, and doing useful things with it when you're on the go. In addition, it'd also help you to keep these systems in working order as the semester wears on. Organize your files the right way. Nothing sucks more than frantically searching through your pictures folder for English paper final version actually final this time .docx right before it's due, only to realize a moment too late that you lazily put it in your Borderlands 2 game saves folder. That's why you need to learn how to organize your files properly. I committed to doing this when I started college, and as a result, I've never lost an important file since starting college. I've never been in a situation where I didn't have access to an important file, thanks to Dropbox. It takes me almost no time at all to locate any file I need. Contrast this to my high school experience, in which I lost several flash drives and had probably the most convoluted and unorganized computer ever. It didn't help that I shared it with my brother. The benefits come at a small price though. Firstly, you have to take the time to properly set up your file system. This might take longer if you've already got a ton of files, but it's worth it in the end. Once your system's set up, you've got to make sure you save your files in the right place. And you've also got to stop yourself from creating new folders in the wrong places. Yeah, it's a bit of work, but again, it's worth it. First and foremost, download and install Dropbox. You've probably heard of Dropbox before, but I'll refresh your memory about its features real quick. Dropbox creates a folder on each computer you've installed it on. Files in this folder are synced to the cloud and kept updated on all your computers. All your files are also available to download from your profile on the Dropbox website and from their mobile apps. You get 2 gigabytes of storage for free, more than enough for most types of schoolwork. The upshot of all this is that you'll always have access to your files wherever you are, as long as you've got a computer with an internet connection or your smartphone, and you know your Dropbox login info. You can also use Google Drive, which actually gives you more space, 15 gigabytes, for free. I've used Dropbox for years and love it, and that's why it's my base recommendation. But Drive is a good option as well. Next, you need to set up your folder structure. On each of my computers, I put my Dropbox folder in a pretty high level place, like my Documents folder. It doesn't really matter, but since it forms the foundation of my file system, it feels better to have it there. From there, I break my life down into components and create folders for each of them. The photo below shows several levels of my Dropbox. The main folder has folders for college, this blog, my freelance web design, learning projects, etc. I've also got a place for folders I share with others, as well as a folder for Notepad++ Portable, just in case I find myself using a random computer and need access to a better text editor. The main thing you should pay attention to here is my college folder, which I've drilled into a bit more so you can see how it's organized. My method to organizing the madness that is college goes like this. School year. I moved my freshman folder to long-term storage to save space at one point. Class. All non-project files for each class go here. Specific project folders. I've also got a clubs folder for things pertaining to clubs and organizations, as well as an admissions folder that holds copies of admissions documents and the like. Once you've got a structure like this, you simply have to keep it organized, save things in the right place, and be disciplined enough not to deviate from it when creating new folders. Organization for the win. Build a quick capture system. David Allen, author of Getting Things Done, is probably the most well-known productivity nerd alive. Aptly describes the purpose of your mind. Your mind is for having ideas, not holding them. In this case, I define the concept of an idea somewhat broadly. An idea is anything that might cause you to take action at some point in time. This means an idea could be an actual creative idea you come up with, an article or book you find that you'd like to read, a task that needs doing later, an event you need to attend, a person you'd like to get to know. Most of these things are not ideas themselves, but your mind holds ideas of them, and that's the problem. Even though your brain is essentially a giant parallel processor that can do many things at once, it generally works best if you've got it pointed at a single task at a time. Trying to juggle a bunch of ideas which require future action only hampers your ability to execute on the idea you're trying to work on now. But here's the problem. Ideas come all the time. Since ideas can strike at any time or place, you need a system for capturing them, storing them away safely for later use, and getting yourself back on task. What's more, you need a system that lets you do this quickly and without much friction. This is the idea behind quick capture. To utilize this concept well, you need to build a great quick capture system. The classic method is carrying around a notebook wherever you go, and it's a fine method. I recommend trying it if you like writing with pen and paper. However, I get a bit geekier with my system, and most of it resides on my iPhone. Here are the apps I use, along with Android alternatives if needed. Drafts, iOS, an app that instantly opens to a blinking cursor so you can just write. It's the fastest way to enter text on my phone. It's also got smart shortcuts to actions I can take after writing. I generally set my notes to Evernote for later processing. Android alternative? Evernote. There's nothing like drafts that I've found, unfortunately. Scanbot, iOS/Android. A document scanner app. I generally use it for scanning receipts for my business, but it's amazing for scanning handwritten notes as well. Trello, iOS/Android. An amazing project management app. More about it in step 10. If I get ideas on a project I've already planned out, I often add them here. Sunrise Calendar, iOS/Android. My favorite mobile calendar app. Syncs perfectly with Google Calendar, which is what I use on my computers. ToDoist, iOS/Android. Tasks I need to do later get entered here. This is my to-do app of choice. Lastly, I use Pinboard to keep a well-tagged collection of web pages I want to save for later. Get a second brain. For almost 6 years now, I've been operating at a significant advantage to most other people on Earth. Why? I've got 2 brains. Okay, maybe it's not all that crazy, but I do have a tool that I refer to as my second brain, and it's called Evernote. Evernote is, at a glance, a simple note-taking app. However, there are reasons it became my most used application throughout my entire college career, as well as in my career as a writer slash podcast slash video producer slash beard model today. I used Evernote to take detailed, outline-style notes in most of my classes throughout college, and it also held group meeting notes, project details, and lots of other things that pertain to school. In addition, Evernote is where almost every piece of college info geek gets its start. I have notebooks in it for articles, podcast notes, and video ideas, large guides and book outlines. This book started as an outline in Evernote. Speaking notes and resources, testimonials and reader questions, various notes from website changes and other technical stuff. Evernote also runs much of my personal life as well. I have personal notebooks for life details, apartment info, ISP information, account numbers for utilities and other random things, software licenses and support contact information, rap lyrics, Magic the Gathering decks and combo ideas, fiction that never sees the light of day, travel info, all flight/hostel confirmations, info about where I'm going, conference registrations, Dance Dance Revolution goal progress. I'm trying to beat every song on doubles mode. Lastly, I have a notebook dedicated to book notes. Every day, I have a habit of reading for 15 minutes and taking detailed, summarized notes of what I learned. This helps me retain much more of the important material in each book I tackle. Like Dropbox, Evernote syncs all your notes to the cloud. You can access them via any of their desktop or mobile apps, and also via the web app. Also, Evernote can capture notes in formats besides text. You can record voice notes, and when you capture picture notes, Evernote will even make any text in the images searchable. That's right, you can take a picture of a syllabus with your phone, then search for details in the text later. It's amazing. When I was a student, I was able to pull up my notes right on my phone while waiting for exams so I could quickly review. Evernote has also saved my butt on more than a few occasions. Getting into the habit of saving anything I think I might need later in it has really paid off. If you're going to take lecture notes on a computer, I highly recommend doing it in Evernote. Even if you take them on paper, you can choose to photograph them and import them into Evernote notebooks later if you'd like to make them searchable or accessible from anywhere. Use a task manager. In step 4, I talked about how you should plan your week out on Sundays. Well, there's a prerequisite to being able to do that effectively. And that's to make sure you have a system that captures tasks you need to complete. You probably already knew this, so at this point you're asking, what's the best ToDo app out there? I'm gonna make like a smarmy politician and give you an answer that sort of dodges the question. The best ToDo app is the one that works well for you. Dodgy, yes, but it's true. I went through 4 years of college constantly reading app review blogs, looking for the absolute best task manager. I figured there must be one to rule them all. What I've learned now, though, is that we're all a bunch of weirdos with non-robotic brains that work in funny ways. Some people might find a simple notebook works best for them. Others may want to stick to paper, but need more organization a la a system like bullet journal. Some are like me and want to use a computer-based system, but then are faced with so many choices. Wunderlist, Remember the Milk, Google Tasks, ToDoist, Productive, OmniFocus, Asana. The list goes on and on. My suggestion would be to try a few out and see what works best for you. Maybe even try a few unconventional ones. I've seen people turn Trello, a project management app, into individual daily task managers. Some people find a simple to-do column in Abitica works well. It's not enough for me though. The one thing you must do, however, is actually use one. Don't think you can get by just trying to remember everything you need to do. Stuff will inevitably fall through the cracks. Remember, your brain is for having ideas, not holding them. So, given that I've acknowledged the individual nature of task management, the app that my weirdo brain currently likes best is called ToDoist. It's got a nice, clean design, offers apps for both Windows and OS X, along with every major smartphone platform, and has a great web app to boot. ToDoist's sparse, minimalist design attracts me in a way that Wunderlist's wooden theming doesn't, though the two apps are very similar in terms of features. One thing ToDoist does have that Wunderlist doesn't though is labels. Both apps allow you to create multiple lists, which is great for segmenting your life into sensible parts: school, work, homework, clubs. But ToDoist's labeling feature also allows me to assign context to my tasks. As I talked about in step 4, it's good to think about your tasks in terms of contexts like high mental intensity and low mental intensity. The labeling system in ToDoist allows me to assign these contexts in real life, and the app has smart text recognition that lets me do it very quickly. For example, entering reschedule meeting with Barrett at low will add that task and let me sort it with all my low intensity tasks. I also have friends that create other types of contexts, such as social, to group it with all tasks that involve other people, public, for all that involve leaving the house, etc. Fight entropy. Entropy is defined as a general decline into disorder. This is, probabilistically, how the universe works, which is why we have the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy always increases. It's also how organization works for most students. You start the semester out with a well-oiled system of organization. Your files are in their rightful place. You've got neat folders in your backpack, each with an uncrumpled syllabus tucked into it. Your to-do list is well pruned. A couple months later, everything is in disarray. The backpack is a mess. You've lost several papers, and your to-do list is full of a bunch of old tasks that gunk it up and obscure the important ones that need to be done. This entropy increases friction, makes it harder for you to see what needs to be done, and generally slows you down. Trying to work within messy, high entropy systems is the equivalent to trying to run through a field of waist-high molasses. That's why you must fight the entropy. Use your Sunday planning sessions not only to create an overall plan for the week, but to keep your task management and file organization systems well organized. Run through a regular checklist. If you've saved files to your desktop in a hurry, move them to where they belong. Organize Evernote documents if you sent raw ones from drafts or entered them hurriedly into a default notebook. Finish, delete, or reschedule tasks that are left in your task management system. Keep your backpack and room organized. Remember, Having to deal with friction will reduce your motivation to study, especially as the semester wears on and life gets generally more complex. Constant vigilance